The next keynote speaker I got to know, I think it's 6 months ago or so, when I was working myself on a blog around the 4-day work week. Very interesting topic, right? Everybody, especially in our bubble, is talking about it, super enthusiastic about it, and everything you read when you're reading about pilots, they say, oh, productivity was up 80%, engagement was up 300%, it was just great. And then you ask, a lot of Japanese companies actually tested with the 4-day work week, and so you implemented it, and then you get a no. So I was thinking, something is very wrong with the 4-day work week. And then I saw a post from our next keynote speaker on this topic, so I reached out, and since then we've been talking, and I got to find out that at Homerun, the company where she is the director of people, they are extremely advanced when it comes to employee benefits. Really interesting topic if you consider all the employee benefits that we're having nowadays, commuter allowance, lunch in the office, a lot of things are related to how we used to work. So now we're going to talk a little bit about benefits for the future way that we work. So I would like to welcome on stage Rita Wittek, Head of People at Homerun.
Yep. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm a little bit nervous. This is actually my first talk in front of this many people, also virtually. So today I actually decided to adopt Pippi Longstocking's saying. She always says, I've never done this before, so I'm probably good at it. So before I dive in and tell you all about the world of people first employee benefits, I actually want to do a little ritual that we do at my company. It involves emojis, so Nadia probably likes it. We do use this emoji as kind of a mindfulness emoji. It's even in our handbook, so it's not to be misunderstood. And so what we do, and I think of this as a little benefit myself, we take a moment to arrive, because today has been quite a full day. There have been lots of talks. You've hopefully been really inspired. So I thought that we'd start with a little breather. You don't have to close your eyes. You can if we want to. At Homerun, we really encourage a mindful workspace, not too many meetings. We've heard this today. People hate meetings. Sometimes they're necessary. But to start, let's take one deep breath, and then let's get settled in the here and now. So, all right, thanks for that. So, this is me, I'm Rita. I'm a people professional, and I love setting up the whole employee experience from scratch. I love building value-based, people-first workplaces, and I work at Homerun. This is Ted. He's our slightly weird virtual office dog. And Homerun is a hiring platform for small businesses and medium-sized businesses, and we help companies organize the hiring workflow, basically. So you can use Homerun to set up your whole hiring experience. Being a small company ourselves, we know how difficult this can be when you don't have the in-house knowledge, and that's where Homerun comes in. Okay. I want to ask you a question. Who here would say that they have a great work-life balance? That's quite a lot of people. That's great to see. Maybe I don't have to teach you anything. And who here would say that they're happy with the benefits their company offers? That's a little less from what I can see. All right, thanks for that. I bet we've all seen job posts that boast things that are not really a benefit. Being in the EU right here, we know there's a lot of awesome benefits that are already mandated by law. So boasting with things that are not actually an added benefit on top is not something a company should do. And I think pizza nights, free beer, snacks, that's all great. But it's not something that will engage your workforce in the long term. So while you can keep buying pizza for your employees, there's also less tangible benefits, and I believe that those are actually on the rise. So why not think about a more tailored approach here? I've said the secret superpower of small companies. And that's not because I don't think that big companies can't implement really cool out-of-the-box benefits, but I think that small companies can act as a bit of a playground in this regard. And I think that smaller companies, they're often quicker to innovate and therefore able to inspire others. And that's what we actually try to do at Homerun. And if there's one message I really, really want to get across today, it's that there's no one size fits all, because different people have different needs. And that's where you're tailored, you're flexible, all kinds of different benefits programs come into play. Let's zoom out a little bit first. Work-life balance. We've all seen companies offering great work-life balance. I bet we have. But what does work-life balance even mean? I think it's really crucial to achieve an agreeable definition of work-life balance in your company, because it's unique for every company, and it's unique for every person, as I just said. So it's very important to go back to that, because your employees, if you work in HR, your employees are giving you their most precious resource. They're giving you their time. And that's a finite resource. They don't have more of that. And that's really important to remember here. And while work may never make your employees truly happy, it can make them really miserable. And that's what the people team is here to prevent. They can't do that by themselves, but people leaders do play a key part in creating inspiring, inclusive, enjoyable workplaces. These are your employees. They are juggling so many different balls at any given moment in time. These balls would be things like work, life, just friends, family, and of course, their physical and mental health. And out of these balls, the work ball is the only rubber ball. If that falls down, it's most likely going to bounce back up at some point. But the others are more precious. They might break, they might get damaged. So be careful about that and help your employees design meaningful lives. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we do at Homerun. At first, I thought it's worth mentioning a few other companies that are doing great work in this regard and that I personally really look up to. So there's Pleo. Pleo recently revamped their complete benefits plan. And the cool thing about that is that they made it entirely flexible so that their employees can choose from many different things. And while I see this happening more and more, what's different about Pleo is that people can not just choose between two different gym subscriptions, but they can actually choose the fundamental stuff. Do they want more free time? Do they want more monetary benefits? The people team really got down to the core, talked to the people, found out what they wanted, and put this back in the benefits plan to show that the people matter. And it's a lot more admin. If you work in people ops, you know the admin of that. There's mountains of tax questions to go through. Peter knows all about that. So, but they still did it. And then I also wanted to mention Airbnb. They recently revamped their whole work from anywhere policy. I think Ivo mentioned it this morning as well. And the really cool thing about this is that they are setting an example as a company that people know, that people might care about. They are also showing their employees, we don't care about the admin, we're doing this for you, because you are people and you have needs. And then there's Patagonia. At Homerun, we've been looking up to Patagonia forever. They are kind of the mothership when it comes to treating people well. We all probably know their slogan of, let my people go surfing. So this is really not a new idea, giving people flexible benefits, letting people live their lives. The founder of Patagonia always said, I want my team to be able to go surf when the surf's up. I want my people to be able to pick up their kids from school. And that's what they did, as long as their job gets done. So I don't know if he's here still. Sorry, Karsten. It's not all about the blackberries these days. There's many more benefits out there. So remember this, people first, admin second. All of these programs that I just mentioned, they were not created for leaders to optimize for cost. They were optimized for their people. And that's essentially what we do at Homerun. We put our people first. Today I want to talk about two of our coolest benefits, I would say, the most impactful ones at least. And look at the little illustration on the screen. There was the way we were taught to measure success in life is you have a job title and you have a salary. And the job title will move up slowly, salary will move up, and that's your life, it's your work life. But the way I like to think about it is a much more holistic approach. Because there's a lot of things in a person's life. I don't need to know all of our employees, what they do in their free time, but I like to know that they have free time. That's the most important thing. I've heard this best described by Jessica Swan, the CEO of Whereby, who came up with this concept of treating people ops as a product. And that really stuck with me, because a lot of you here work in product companies or software companies, I assume. So you have a product team, you have a customer success team, they go out, they talk to your customers, and they come back with new ideas. And they say, if we want our customers to keep subscribing, we need to add this feature, otherwise they'll leave us. And that's the exact way I approach our people. Our people are my customers, and I make sure that they keep subscribing to my product. And my product is the people experience. So the first benefit that we implemented 6 months ago, I want to talk about, that's been a bit out there, and we've gotten a lot of questions about it, is the 4-day work week. And Peter just mentioned it. It's everywhere. It's on the news, countries are trialing it, productivity apparently skyrockets, it's on LinkedIn, whole countries are trying it out, but that's not at all how I got started with it at Homerun. So I think during the first year of Corona, at some point I realized that people needed smaller breaks to recharge, people were tired, and while we give a lot of vacation time, I noticed that that didn't really seem like the solution. People really needed more regular breaks. They needed more time for themselves, for their families, to reconnect. And during one-on-ones that I had with people kept mentioning, thinking about maybe cutting down on my hours. I really just am always kind of running behind. And while they really liked their jobs, they were still thinking about cutting down on their hours, which I think is really interesting, because cutting down on your hours also means cutting down on your salary. And that's something we're really not taught to do, because the career movement is always going up. It's working more, it's making more money. But people basically wanted to rest and recharge, and people wanted to keep, not key their balance, but keep their balance. Keep your balance is actually one of our company values. So that really resonates with a lot of people. And I said this before, we look up to Patagonia, we've always been kind of flexible, but it kept happening more and more. People wanted less money, they wanted more time. So time passed. Some people, including myself and 2 of the founders, actually cut down on their hours. So if you go from 5 to 4, you take a 20% pay cut. And that's obviously not something that everyone can afford to do. So that's already one thing. But people did it. And then something strange happened. Because what I noticed within the team is that the people that had cut down on their hours, they didn't have less output. They didn't have less impact. And they were just as engaged as the rest. There was just one difference. They were getting paid less than the others. So I thought, there must be something here. So I kind of trusted my instinct, and I started working on a proposal. I talked to the leadership team, talked to lawyers, talked to the team, again, and again. And this is not something you can implement overnight, but it's definitely something that you can think about if you break free from everything that you read, from everything that you hear, and just look into your organization, what makes your organization tick. So for us, here's the 4-day work week in a nutshell. We really wanted to improve overall well-being. And while we do hear everywhere that productivity skyrockets, we decided quite consciously to do a 9-month pilot because people need time to settle in. People need time to test new ways of working. So we knew that productivity, or we at least assumed that productivity would go down at first before it would hopefully go back up and settle somewhere that we're comfortable with. And I'm not saying now that productivity is suddenly 120% because I don't know how these Japanese firms measuring this because it didn't make any sense to me. But we wanted a holistic approach. We wanted to decrease feelings of stress and burnout. And while I know that simply working less hours is not a cure for stress and burnout, a more holistic approach to life, to work, definitely makes it less likely, especially with the other benefit that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And we also felt that rest really leads to creativity. I work in a small company. Every week is different, and people need to be quite creative to come up with the solutions to the problems we're facing. And I'd much rather have well-rested people instead of people that are just putting in the hours, because hours don't equal output. Improve productivity. We actually did improve productivity, but that is because we streamlined processes. Because all of a sudden, when people work less, they start thinking about, how should my week actually look like? Do I have too many meetings? Shouldn't I do more deep work? So people tweaked and tweaked and tweaked, and by now, 6 months in, we settled into a really good rhythm because people are actually more conscious about the way they work. We also want to retain our talent for the long haul. We've probably all read about the war of talent. So for us, this is also a great way of showing our team that we care about them. And it's a great way to attract more talent and actually attract talent through shared values. So for us, it's really important that if someone wants to join Homerun, that they believe in what we're selling them, the kind of product we want them to subscribe to, which is a company that is mindful, a company that is flexible, and a company where hours don't matter, but your output does. The second benefit I really wanted to talk about is easy access to mental health care, because I think that's something that every company should have. Everyone can have a mental crisis, but not everyone is able to seek help by themselves. So most countries, we probably all know this too, it's very difficult to get mental health. There's long wait lists involved, there's a lot of costs, and just can be quite daunting, to be frank. So what we tried to do is we talked to our people, we found out what they needed, and we started making this accessible for everyone. Easy access to a therapist in a confidential way. You can use this for your personal life, you can use it for your professional life, get coaching. The most important thing is that it's there. Usage, of course, is important too, but again, this isn't to optimize for costs. Obviously, these things cost money, you need to invest in them, and the return of investment is that your team knows where they can go and get help. So why I see this gets implemented in a lot of companies right now, I do often see that people are checking a box. But the implementation and monitoring of these kind of services is actually crucial. Because if you don't show people that it's okay to make use of this, if you don't involve leadership to share that they're also using this and setting an example, people will not actually use it. So this is what I just mentioned with the 4-day work week coupled together, we think makes up a really, really nice part of our benefits plan for people to live well-rounded lives. And we also have the usual suspects like gym subscriptions, book allowances, lunch money, stuff like that. But it's those two benefits that I think we are the proudest of because they actually make an impact. So now it's time for you to come up with your People First benefits plan. And to wrap things up, I want to give you my key takeaways. Be bold. So that's one thing I've learned. There's nothing that you can't ask. Also, again, I'm saying this over and over, but it's really important. There is no one size fits all, because every company, every person is different. Find out what your company needs. get leadership on board. That one, crucial, because without the safety and trust to try new things, you're already behind, because you can't. You need to set an example throughout the whole company. People first, admin second. I've shown you a few companies that are doing this. Yeah, again, it's going to cost you money. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be a lot of work. And it's going to get super messy. My next point. I didn't expect this to go smoothly. We also didn't come up with the 4-day work week saying, okay, now you're all off on Fridays. Because from the bat, I talked to people, and people told me, but my kids don't go to school on Wednesday, so I'd like to be off on Wednesday. Some people said, Friday is the best day in the office, because I like to have that beer at the end of the day. I'd rather be off Mondays, because Monday there's this and this happening in the city. So we try to accommodate everyone, and it gets messy every once in a while, so we adapt, we talk to people again, and we try something new. And lastly, stay weird. I'm not asking all of you to stay weird. Stay weird is one of our company values. I'm actually inviting you to also use your company values. It's really powerful. Stay weird for us means that we take pride in doing things just a little bit differently. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Well done. So a couple of questions, but let me start with a remark, because this I think you only get in in-person events. Sorry for the people online, but you were at least witnesses to this. It was cool, right? You were pretty nervous at start, but you have the balls to just say it. Then you have an audience making it very loud and giving you the support. And what you do next?
Tyler.
Yeah, we have Tyler. Air horns. And then, but the thing you do afterwards is also really brave, right? Then you take a moment and you put yourself in a very vulnerable position again. I'm super proud of you. That's really cool. Learned a lot already from just that. There's already a good number of questions. I'm going to skip my own and just look at the first one. So do you have experience with the benefit of volunteering time off? Cool. And what do you think about offering a benefit that improves social responsibility with NGOs?
I think that's a really good one. I don't have experience with this benefit. I've seen it a lot in blogs and Slack channels in the US. We do have people that actually use their weekly day off to volunteer, which is great to see, but not necessarily much more than that.
Second question is pretty obvious, right? How do you get leadership on board? You said it's crucial, but it's not easy, and I think you may have had a little bit of an easy journey there with your founders who are very progressive, but don't think we all have that luxury.
Yeah.
And also, money-wise, there's also a lot of money involved. So how do you tackle those things, or what have you got in suggestions there?
Yeah, so I think getting leadership on board, obviously for me, I do have very progressive founders, which is a blessing. I think doing really good research, doing your homework gets you a long way. Having open-minded leadership already helps. And no budget is something there, I think Darren also said it, there's a lot of free things. And the 4-day work week, right now, if you think about it, it doesn't really cost us money because people are doing the same jobs as before. They have the same salaries, so it's actually not an expense. If you look at it like this, the people are just doing the same job, so for people, it's a little bit like, you know, they got a raise or they got more free time, but it didn't cost that much money because, of course, the productivity in the beginning, we expected it to go down a little, but it did go back up, and we're surveying a lot. And about other benefits, I think making a case for the return of investment, because setting things up, having happy workforce, everyone that is in recruitment knows how expensive it is to hire. So write down what it does cost to find new people, hire them, onboard them, and then write down what these benefits that you would propose cost. Because often it's a pretty simple sum, because the benefits are much cheaper than hiring new people that would leave otherwise.
That's a very good comment, right? It's interesting. And you never really make a secret out of it when we talk, is that we're not paying the Google and Facebook salaries at our company, so we need to offer something else.
We can't. We're a very small company, mostly bootstrapped. It would be very tough for us to offer a Google salary. I think we couldn't. So we do have to be creative. And we're transparent about that too.
So one other question on 4-day work week, a very valid question. So you've got a pilot which lasts 9 months, but how did you come up with that number of months, and can't you do it faster?
Yes, I've talked to people, obviously, that also implemented a 4-day work week, and I've seen a lot of companies either like going very short. I think Buffer said that they did 1 month. That's too short to adopt new ways of working. When I came up with it, it just happened to be, when I got the approval, it was April, so I thought until the end of the year, it's a nice time frame. I would at least try to do 6 months, because there's vacations, there's all these things you have. I think 3 quarters is just a good time also to see if you keep hitting your goals, because we are a small company, we're not that data driven yet, every week looks differently. So for me to know if the output is still roughly the same, it just took some time. I've also seen a lot of companies start with, I think they call it Summer Fridays, which is a nice initiative and it's a good start. Again, for us, the Friday thing was a bit too restrictive, and companies doing it in the summer, a lot of people take vacation, so that also kind of makes the time frame too short to really assess. So I would recommend 6 to 9 months, simply to be sure that you're making the right choice for your company, and so you can ask feedback every month. And I think if you ask feedback every week, your people get survey fatigue and will stop answering.
Good point. So there's now, regarding this 4-day work week, a pretty big pilot going on in the UK. I don't know whether it's 1 year, or do you know how long it lasts?
10 months maybe?
Yeah, pretty long at least.
Yeah.
But that will be probably the first true pilot, like countrywide, a lot of companies joining in, also governmental companies, that will give hopefully very good data and results. So I'm really looking forward to the outcome of that. So a couple of questions. Yeah, we've got time for that. Cool. Around the mental health benefits. So the first one, how do you set an example around mental health benefits? Oof. Open question.
Yeah. Again, I think Corona was just a really tough 2 years, if we can even say it's over. But setting an example, I think I felt that there was a need for it. And then, yeah, having leadership use it and sharing about it. I used it myself quite extensively, and I was quite open about that to my team. Obviously, you don't have to be. It's totally fine. I don't ever know who's using it when. I just know if it gets used. And even then, it's different every month. But rolling it out in a good way, like having it in your handbook, sending reminders. Our mental health tool, Oliva, they also do huddles. You can join them as a group. I actually got the founder of the company to join our all hands to explain to people why he set up the company. And that also really helped. So I think having like a long introduction cycle and just bring it back in your surveys. Ask if people are using this. Would they rather have something else? Surveys, talk to your people, talk to your customers.
Very good. So, interesting question is also here now on the top. So we rolled out access to this. Someone asks, but nobody used it. Well, you did. You're very open about it. That's, again, very cool. But many people are struggling. And I think it also relates to the question that just came in. Does the company that you had for your mental health support, did they report back to the company? I think I know the answer, but can you combine those two questions maybe in one answer?
If they report back, you mean?
To the company, yeah. So maybe to you, but because you're the
so I get a report every month, so I can see if it's been used. And honestly, for example, over the summer, I saw that usage was low, and.
But only that, right? You only see usage. You do not get any details, I presume. It's
no,
probably
I don't know
even forbidden.
Because otherwise it's not confidential anymore.
I'm with you.
So no, it's completely confidential. But what is important to remember, also to tell your leaders, is that it's something you want to have all year round. In the summer, people also usually feel lighter. They have less gray days. It's good weather. They get out there. And in the winter, usually usage goes up a little because it's just a darker month, it's a bit tougher. So give it some time and keep reminding people, and also find out if there's a need and maybe it's not the right product. Why aren't they using it? That's also something. I do have some people on my team that said, also, I don't know who said it, but in the surveys, I don't like to do this online. I'd rather talk to someone in person. There is all these different needs from people. So talk to them again. Find out why aren't people using it. You might be able to solve the problem real quickly after that.
Really good. Thank you very much. So there's 2 remaining questions, but we don't have time for this, but she's still with us, and she's also available online, I guess, right?
Yes.
For questions if you need her. So thank you very much, Rita Wittek. All right. So